if you talk to most people in cannabis, particularly those of us who came from other industries, I came from financial services and technology, most people will tell you this is by far the hardest industry that they've ever worked in. It's fascinating and it's fun and it's a constant steep learning curve. So all of those things are great, but it certainly is not a party. It's a very serious industry. I'm Nancy Whiteman and I'm the CEO of Wana Brands and the founder of the Wana Brands Foundation. Wana Brands was actually founded in 2010, right at the beginning of the medical market here in Colorado. So we're one of the OG edible companies. We have 123 employees. We operate in 15 states in the US and Puerto Rico and Canada. And I think that last year we figured out that we made 98 million gummies. I have a sort of a traditional business background, I'd say. I have an MBA. I worked in corporate America for years. I was the VP of marketing for a large financial services company. And then we moved to Colorado when my oldest daughter was about a year old, and I started consulting, doing sales and marketing consulting. One of my daughter's friends was over for a play date, and her dad came to pick her friend up. And I asked him what he was doing. He was a commercial real estate developer, and this was 2010 in Colorado. It was a really tough time for commercial real estate. And he said to me, "Oh, you wouldn't approve." And of course I was completely intrigued. So I said, "Oh, really? What would I not approve of?" And he said that he was making infused soda pop. And that was really interesting to me. I actually was no stranger to cannabis, but didn't actually know the language of medical cannabis. So I said, "What's it infused with?" I really didn't even know what he was talking about. And so we began talking about the fact that it was infused with marijuana. At that point, we were still calling it marijuana. The long story short, we ended up building out a kitchen with him. He had sort of a rudimentary kitchen where he was doing beverages. And we parted ways rather quickly, as many of those early partnerships went, but it sort of got us on this path to making edibles. And so I always joke that I always say I need a better backstory because so many people got into the industry for really moving reasons. Either they had a loved one who were helped by it, or they're believers in traditional plant medicine, or social justice reasons. But mine was a little bit more, a little more spontaneous and organic than that. When we started in Colorado in 2010, it was all medical, right? And it was very biomass constrained. It was really hard to get enough THC. So we were sort of hand to mouth. We were always trying to do trade deals with people, and to get enough trim, we had to do our own extraction, et cetera. And then we had legalization for adult use. And we were like, this is it, this is the holy grail. But the truth is, it took about a year for the recreational grows to come online. So once that actually happened and we started to see what it meant to do things at scale, we then started to look around for other opportunities outside Colorado. And we started experimenting with a market expansion model. There's some options for how you do that. You can raise a lot of capital and you can put facilities in every state, or you can do what we ultimately chose to do, which was an asset-light model through licensing agreements. That model did not necessitate us going out and raising a lot of capital. We were able to, first of all, bootstrap the company, so never had any investors or any debt. And then we were able to grow organically just from cash flow and profits. And so that's really what enabled me to hold on to 100% of the equity, is that somebody gave me very good advice along the way, is never take money that you don't need. And I followed that advice.
Watch your step around the corner here. The process flow pretty much starts over here where we have all these pops prepped with all of our raw materials, sugar, pectin, flavors, the tincture, the medicated tincture that goes in. Back there on the burners, we're cooking up our mixture, getting it up so that we start to get the gelatinization of our gummy mixture. Once it's ready to come off, it goes over to our flavor station where you see all those cups prepped up. They throw those in, mix it up really quick, and then it goes into these depositors where we hand deposit all of that liquid gummy mass into these silicone molds. Once it's in the silicone molds, it starts to turn into a gummy. It starts to solidify or gelate. And that process is fairly quick, about 15 to 20 minutes. The great thing about the cannabis industry and how it's been maturing over the last decade or so is we can now buy a lot of the ingredients that we used to have to make internally. So we get high quality distillates from a lot of our business partners. Those distillates come here to make our in-house tinctures and medicated sugars, and that all happens in our lab. The stuff that makes them active, makes them medicated, is all being produced out of this lab. We know the ratios of all of our medicated tinctures, we know the ratios of all of our sugars. It all gets double, triple, quadruple checked a number of different times throughout this process prior to going into the kitchen and handing it off to that team. What you're looking at here, the start of the process is where we take all those finished gummies, we put them onto this blue conveyor where it goes up top to a weighing system that is specifically weighing out 10 or 20 gummies depending on the pack size that we're doing. It'll drop it down into our Calyx containers, those white square-shaped vials. And then it'll go down the road, get a cap on it, labels, compliance label, a number of different quality checks. Then it'll go into our cardboard boxes, get sealed up with tamper-evident tape, be ready to go out into the market.
The only way that we really grow the industry is to grow the pie. And what I mean by that is that if all companies do is compete over the high usage, high dosage, want as much THC for the lowest cost as possible consumer, you are constraining yourself and you're also constraining the power of the plant. What we really need to do is figure out how to make products that bring people into the power of cannabis. And a number of our products actually are low dosage. They're for people who are looking to address specific issues, health and wellness challenges that they're facing, but they don't necessarily want to be intoxicated, right? So that's what I mean when I say that I think we're contributing to really growing the pie and focusing on that through innovation in a way that I don't see a lot of other brands doing. I think a leadership style that seeks to empower innovation has to be one that accepts that you're going to do some stuff that's not always going to be a home run, and that there's learning in that too, and respect for the people who did that as well. You know, the issue of being sort of recognized as a female CEO versus just a CEO is one that's a little bit complicated for me. There have been times that I have been a little frustrated by sort of, if you will, being put in the box of a female CEO, because really by all measures, Wana is an exceptional company. We've had incredible top-line growth, we're incredibly profitable, and those things seem to me that they have their own merit. But when I say that my thinking has changed on this over time, what I have come to realize is that representation matters, to say the obvious, right? But I've had so many conversations with women who have shared with me that it's really meaningful for them to see a woman who has been successful in this industry. Particularly, you know, I'm not 25 years old. You know, I started this, you know, when I was a grown-up that already had a career behind me. I started it, I bootstrapped it with my partner. And it becomes a role model for other women to say, she doesn't seem like she's all that special. If she can do that, I can probably do it too. And I really do see the power of that, and I'm happy to be a contributor to that. For women to know that it's possible to run a company that is values-based, that has a lot of heart, that's very collaborative, that you don't have to compromise on your values to be successful. And I hope I communicate that to people. I think that's meaningful to people, and so I guess I'm moving towards being honored to be recognized for that. You don't have to have everything all figured out from day one. You need to have a direction, and you need to just keep taking the next step, whatever the logical next step is, and trusting that you will figure out how to evolve things over time.